Hello and welcome to another Anim Dojo podcast. My name is Tom Box, co-founder of Anim Dojo, and I'm here with the Anim Dojo crew. We have Katie.
Hi, I'm a community manager at Anim Dojo and a recruiter at Blue Zoo.
And we have Grace.
Hi there, I'm the marketing coordinator for Anim Dojo and Blue Zoo.
And we have Beta.
Hey guys, I'm also a co-founder of Anim Dojo.
So cheers everyone for joining us for another Anim Dojo podcast chat. If you don't know what Anim Dojo is, it's an online platform. We call it an animation gym to help you kind of practice and get better at reaching that career goal in the animation industry, and allowing you to do that regardless of your age, location, wealth, or time availability. So it's really trying to open the doors to as many people as possible to get to that career goal. So in this podcast today, we want to discuss kind of where Anim Dojo's come from and where we're going to, and ultimately try and get your thoughts on that. Because one of the things with Anim Dojo is we're always saying it's all about practicing, critiquing, and constantly evolving and adjusting what you're doing. So in that sense, we eat our own dog food, and we want you to critique us. So we're kicking that conversation off and having a bit of a retrospective talk about what we've done, what we've got right, what we've got wrong, but more importantly, looking at the future and what throwing some ideas around of what we'd like to see. And so hopefully that might get you thinking in terms of what you'd like to see, and then we'd love to hear it. So Beda, do you want to explain where Anim Dojo came from, how it started originally?
Yeah, well, there's obviously a very long story to that, but I'll try and really summarize it as quick as I can. I think it's been a kind of a dream of both myself and you guys at Blue Zoo as well. And we kind of had those separate dreams without really sharing them. And I think it was at some point, I remember I had come back from doing a course and I was chatting with the guys about how expensive it was, and I was kind of thinking I wish there was a more affordable way to do it. And I came to Tom and I said, here's my idea, let's do a course that's affordable that focuses on things. And we did a really short mini in-house thing. It sold out within hours from posting it. It sold out immediately. And people who attended it was a real live workshop. And they all said that they had learned so much in those few hours, more than they've taken, more than they've learned on courses. And we felt like there was something there that we had kind of grasped, and we weren't quite sure what to do with it yet. And we kind of left it for a while. And then at some point, we discussed that I would do this full time to really come up with a course that would target that same mentality from what we did from back then. And that's kind of where I took a time to build something with obviously advice from Tom, Adam, and Ollie as well, and from the guys at Blue Zoo as a whole, kind of coming up with what is the most, the way we don't think about animation, where we just do things without thinking, is to kind of capture that and bring it into a thought process and say, this is what we do. An animator does this, A, B, C, D, whatever. And we spent months kind of formulating what that was, and we decided to go with an online approach rather than a physical school. Obviously now in this world that we're living in now, that's probably a good choice in hindsight. But yeah, so the idea was to come up with something that was practice-based and that people can do straight away. And we started with a beta course that was closed off to, I think, only 40 people maximum.
Yeah.
That also sold off pretty quickly, and that's where we met Katie. And we,
and it's more of an online evening class, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was like an online evening class. It was quite intense. It demanded a lot of our time, which obviously then we had to tweak for the monthly subscription model. But that's kind of where we learned a lot about what works, what doesn't work, and yeah, we just said, you know what, straight after that, let's continue with the monthly subscription. We were gonna wait for a while, but we just jumped straight in. No, actually, we did the in-house thing as well. So we had a boot camp, which went quite well. So yeah, I'm kind of zipping through the history to kind of just explain to you how it evolved, and yeah, we stayed doing it for, you know, as a one-man band for a while. It was just pretty much me and Tom. Tom on the tech side, me on the teaching side. We did everything from, like, you know, posting about when things are happening and dealing with, like, you know, emails and, you know, the YouTube stuff, everything. And it was
If we had a theme tune, we would have sung it, I think, as well. But.
Literally, people will be like, so what is Anim Dojo? And we're like, well, what is Anim Dojo? And we just sit there and explain. And I think that was where we realized we needed to really, like, really be more like an arrowhead with it, and, like, have a very quick thing. And over time, streamline it, exactly. And I think that has given us a lot of, you know, that year where it was just me and Tom, it has given us so much time to, like, really learn about, like, what it is that we want Anim Dojo to be, but then also opening it up to everyone else. So I kind of took a step back. We got a bunch of streamers to come in and do things. Also, you know, Tom let the reins go for the website and for marketing and all that. We kind of started to get more people on board and to really help us shape it into what it is today. And yeah, so it's you know, Anim Dojo is continuously evolving, which is why we're doing this podcast, because we want to let you guys know that, you know, we want to hear what you guys think about the current website and where we want to take it from there, pretty much. Yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell.
Yeah,
where Anim Dojo is from.
Yeah, because I know obviously Katie started. We know Katie from doing that original online. Was it a 4-week, kind of quite in 2 nights a week evening class? I think it was.
Yep. It was the 4-week online kind of boot camp version. It was like the online version of the in-house boot camp, which was a bit more accessible for people like me who couldn't afford the London one to be there in person. So it was really great to have that opportunity to do that as well, because it was the best thing I ever did. So,
and I think many people on that, you know, have gone on to have successful careers after.
Oh
after
yeah,
doing
absolutely, that. Yeah. And I see them all the time at festivals as well, of people who were in that 4-week group. And even though obviously, like, we talk about how a big part of the evolution of the website is how much the community factor has evolved, because that wasn't necessarily, like, intended to be such a big part of it in the beginning, but actually the people on the 4-week bootcamp really bonded, and they're people that I still kind of, like, remember and speak to now, and instantly recognize if I hear the name when I'm in Edinburgh and things. So
I think that's one of the things we're really looking to bring back to the website, and we've got a few different things we're planning on ways of bringing that back in, because I think, you know, on the current beta site there's that chat, but it still doesn't quite have the levels of bringing people together that the original Anim Dojo had. So we're kind of like got this place we've been, this place we're at, and we need to kind of like bring the two together a bit. So we'd love to. I think that's one of the things we'd love to hear people's ideas on what they feel would really, you know, what they'd like to participate in to build that kind of animation community of people wanting to help each other kind of get better.
Yeah, totally.
Katie, back to the original that session you did, what do you think was it that made it work for all those people that did it? Is there a core element you think?
I mean, I guess the core element for me was, well, there was kind of two parts of it, to be honest. It was kind of, first of all, it was just the general kind of content and information, and just those videos on the animators checklist, and seeing exercises of how to improve your animation that I'd never ever heard of before, like fill in the gap and you know, time warp, rapid posing. Those are things that I never knew what they were, but they made such an impact on people's animation so early on, because it's just like updated principles, because, you know, you hear about the picking up a box and a walk cycle, but those ones were really like, there was such a clear reason why you were doing them, so you could really focus on it rather than just pick up a box so that you can get better at weight. And it's like, well, what does that really mean? So that was really great. So it was the content part, and then it was also the kind of it was I'm trying to think of the word to describe it, but it was almost like the responsibility to show up. It was the kind of thing of, you know, there's someone who is expecting me to be there, or there's this thing that I'm part of where someone's like, you are going to be joining along with me. You are going to be doing this shot with me in this hour. And it was that kind of thing of like, this is terrifying animating in an hour. But at the same time, it was also kind of like, but you know, there's like this kind of compelling reason for me to join in and do it, so that it's not just a kind of like, I'm just watching it and soaking it in, but I'm not applying it. It forced me to apply it in the moment. And that was really important. Yeah.
And I think we always looked at that as the kind of like the running club kind of mentality where you have, or running partner, I should say, is where, you know, because otherwise it's really hard to get yourself kind of out to run. But if you agree with someone, I'll meet you at that time there, we'll go for a run. That usually gets a lot of people past that thing. So I think, you're right. It's
extra
very similar
incentive for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing definitely, that if there was a wish list of things, I wish I could do more of that. I think that's one thing that I probably, when I have taken a step back and we had like a lot of different, you know, streams coming online, which is great. You get to see all different types of people's, you know, workflows. I think one thing that did fall short was maybe that element. And I think that's one thing that I'm very aware of, and something that I'm now actively pushing to try to bring back. And whether it's me personally doing them or getting more type of exercises like that are run by streamers. And who knows, maybe we lead by example and I take over for a while and show more of that. But that's kind of what I echo that as well. I think I had the responsibility of, I felt responsible in the sense that I need to give these guys some nugget of information tonight, something that they can walk away with. I cannot just wing it. I cannot just show something cool so that they can think I'm cool and then they walk away with no real knowledge. I wanted to give away something.
Some value.
Yeah, give it some value. And even if it was something that was not going to show me in the best light, because sometimes in an hour, there's only so much you can do. And it kind of exposes you as an animator that, you know, a lot of times we don't really have, like, I'm the first to raise my hand who says, you know, when I sometimes animate, a lot of times I'm kind of going into autopilot. It's not a good thing, but like, you're not aware anymore of what you're doing. And you're just like, things are just happening. And when you're having to think and you're doing it live and you're telling people like, this is
what you're doing.
I don't know why I'm doing it, but I have to explain why. So I have to say, actually, and then you stop and you say, you know what, guys, let me think about it. And I think that part of it is quite tricky because you're exposing yourself and you're showing people a vulnerable side of your workflow, a vulnerable side of your profession.
Which I think it's quite important. Sorry to jump in there, but I think that's part of the thing that I think made those sessions and those streams so successful, because you showed the reality, not a polished YouTube video. You showed you're doing a session, you're doing it live, and you had to cope with kind of Maya crashing halfway through and starting again.
Yeah.
And that, I think that gives people the confidence to go, actually, that stuff that I thought I was doing wrong, that happens to professional animators. And when it reminds me of when we asked a lot of people after that initial Anim Dojo session back in, when was that? 2017, Katie, you did that? I can't remember now. It's a while ago.
End of 2017. Yeah.
Wow.
Was the first.
That long, huh?
Yeah.
But when people finished that, we said, what's the biggest difference of what you did in that Anim Dojo kind of class, that boot camp, compared to what you've previously learnt through studying animation at university? And everyone said that it was watching Beda animate in front of me and seeing all the kind of the problems he had, and also seeing how easy he made it look, gave me the confidence to actually just give it a go. And I could suddenly animate a lot quicker because I could see how it's done, not reading it from a exercise book or anything like that.
Not to be punny, but it kind of filled in the gap. Hey, okay. I'm out. No, it's I vividly remember watching a plural sight tutorial where it's tried to show an animation from blocking to spline of this incredibly experienced animator, and it was very well like kind of like cut and chopped up so that it was all like, here are the like important bits. And then I just really vividly remember it getting to that last bit because it was talking about the polish, which I desperately wanted to learn. Like, how do I just get it to look good? Because I don't understand. And it felt like there was just this huge jump where it went to that last tutorial and it was kind of like, yeah, so I've just kind of like messed around here and there. And then now we're going to, and I was just like, what are you doing? And then by comparison of that, really remembering like you, Beda, working on the Mr. Wilson rig when he's doing like this crazy stretchy run cycle, and you just being like, oh wait, I've just done that knee there, but that's a totally wrong pose for a run cycle. Hold on, I'm gonna have to delete that, and then we'll go here. And you were kind of explaining why everything was going and the momentum behind it, and like just vividly comparing those two in my memory. It highlighted so many things about things can go wrong, but this is also like where it can go right. And like you say, it's really confidence boosting.
Yeah, I think I would like to hear people's thoughts on, you know, whether they've had streams with me or with others that they remember were being really successful, that they'd like us to do more of. If they had any ideas of something they'd want us to cover as well, I would love to hear that. But just bear in mind that we are actively now looking at doing more of those types of streams again, where we will work together live and then have to upload together and have a look. So that was, if you don't know what Katie is talking about because you haven't experienced it, basically what it was I would give you guys a file ahead of time. Well, not that ahead of time, so no one can cheat, but basically on the day, you would be given a file or you would be given a brief. It might not require a file. And you would basically open Maya when I start the live stream, and we would both start working together. And then we would have 1 hour to animate, take it as far as you can. And then half an hour left of that stream, everyone just does a play blast and we uploaded it to Sync Sketch. And we would all sit there, look at the work and give each other, well, I would basically try to give as much feedback as I can to everyone. It was a first come, first serve. So it was unfair sometimes because some people were much faster than others. So we tried to balance that out by saying, you know, I can't remember who was the fastest back then, but like, you know, if I noticed that the same person was getting feedback every single time, we tried to like give emphasis to other people. But it was a good way to like just experience the pressure of working together. And then we don't have to keep that work. You can keep it, you can keep working on it, or you can throw it away and start again.
Yeah. One of the things we want to do as well in that on that point of being a bit unfair sometimes when it's a first come first serve kind of thing is we're looking to introduce the karma side of the website, which is the kind of the dojo mojo points. So the more you interact with the website and watch live streams and comment on other people's videos to try and help them get better, that will boost your kind of karma, your score, which will then increase, which will then bump you to the top of those sessions when we do those reviews. So it's really you kind of get out of Anim Dojo what you get in, and we can really kind of get the site working really well. So hopefully those people who are really put in the effort, they'll be even more rewarded.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So I guess kind of we've now got the beta site over this. We've been running and giving it away for free over the summer. So now we're looking to kind of take what's worked and what hasn't worked and adjust it and slightly reformat it to really address those issues. So now is why we're kind of really asking for everyone's input, because also when we did that, we made the key change as well of opening up to more than just 3D animation, where Anim Dojo has traditionally been cartoony animation, because that's what Beda specializes in. But we're opening it up to different disciplines. We've had Matteo do more of the VFX creature animation, but we are doing different disciplines in different rooms. So we'd love to hear from you as well, how you think the Anim Dojo way, which is kind of that checklist, that mental checklist you go through when you're working out if your work looks right or wrong. It's trying to codify that gut instinct if something looks right or wrong. So yeah, I'd love to get your ideas and thoughts on what those different disciplines and job roles would be on the site.
Yeah, I want to quickly shout out anybody who's already filled out the Google form, because thank you, it's really helpful. Your feedback is being taken on board, and lots of people have already said they'd love to see a 2D animator room. So yeah,
that's something I keep in my mind, saying that's got to be the next thing, because honestly, we do Anim Dojo not to like be like other schools. We're not trying to just be another school that does the same thing.
No.
Stuff.
There are some great schools out there. There's no point.
Exactly. There's
kind
no
of
point.
recreating what they're doing.
Exactly. So what we're trying to do is basically filling in the gap.
Hey.
There's a lot of stuff that still isn't covered, and one of them is definitely 2D animation from a production perspective.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's for traditional animation, and you can see some amazing courses come from Disney animators and people who've worked like decades in the industry. But the likelihood of working in traditional animation is much less than that working in cutout or puppet rigged style animation. And I think there's definitely room for us to build a course around that, I would say. Obviously, you would still need to understand basic traditional animation techniques because it's the same. And I know that a lot of puppet animators, especially the team that we built at Blue Zoo, they would still do the rough animation by drawing it and then posing the character to that rough. So you still need to understand how to animate in 2D, but I think that is definitely on our agenda.
Yeah, and I think even within 2D, we'd need to work out the different, because there's different types of 2D animator. Like I said, there's the cutout, the Toon Boom Harmony or cell action style animator, or the TV paint style 2D animator, both of which need quite a different day-to-day skill sets. So even within 2D,
I think 2D effects animator as well.
Yeah, I think, and that's really hopefully what we're trying to do with the rooms is split out, is find a way of like really easily organizing that. So it's not confusing if you're like want to train to be like a junior Toon Boom animator. You're watching loads of videos on how to be a great kind of TV paint animator. That could be quite confusing. So there's quite a few things there that we have to really quite carefully balance to make sure that that training and that gym mentality is really kind of efficient, and you're not learning the things you don't need to be learning to get that foot in the door.
Cool. And it's always, of course, we can't cover every single job, but I really love the podcast episodes we've been doing recently where we've been interviewing different people where they can explain their job title within an animation studio. So please, if you want to throw in any job titles you'd like to hear more about in the podcast perhaps, or as an interview, then feel free to put that in the Google form as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
And then I think just we've got lots of ideas for different things. Like we've been doing the showreel reviews, so we're looking at a way of building on that. And what else we got? Trying to think of all the different functionality we've discussed. But we really want to hear what your dream kind of animation gym, as we call it, would have in it. Your online animation gym to really help you get to know other people and get that job. If you want to get in contact with us, Grace does the socials, so you can message us on our Twitter or Instagram, which is @animdojo, and then Grace will pick up the message. Email us at hello@animdojo.com, or what other ways is there? I'm sure there's other ways
comment
to
if you're on
YouTube,
us. Leave a comment.
All of those routes.
Just comments.
There's lots of ways to get in touch.
Yeah, exactly. But we'd absolutely love to hear from you, because we will, really consider every single thing sent our way, because ultimately we want to make Anim Dojo work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, there's no point us doing this. So that's why we're so keen to hear from you.
Can I just jump in really quickly? I just want to say, on that note, when we're talking about also giving us some feedback, it's not just about like the content. We would love to hear from you guys. Like if you can really have like the most sort of wish list type of website.
Yeah.
How would you like your, you go there, what would you like to see? Obviously we can't implement everything, but we are sort of opening the doors. This is like a not a once in a lifetime opportunity, but we are opening up the opportunity for us to really think outside the box.
Yeah.
And if we needed to implement drastic sort of overall changes to the website, we're happy to do that. So we would like to hear from you what you guys think about whether it's like communication, your content being uploaded, viewing content, everything in between. Just give us what you think has worked for you and what you would like us to kind of consider.
And I think there's different ways you can think about that as well, because one of the things we've done recently over the last year or two is push at the Anim Dojo site into more of an online animation festival as well, which is it's a kind of like that festival gym hybrid. So if there's anything that you miss from an animation festival that we could push online into Anim Dojo, then please let us know, because obviously it's very hard to get physically to animation festivals, even when you don't have things like lockdown. It's it's expensive to travel around. So I think that's another way we can really help more people and be really inclusive no matter where you are. And also if there's any websites that you think, because at the moment Anim Dojo is a bit of a hybrid between Twitch, kind of Udemy and LinkedIn. So I think if there's any things you think, oh, it'd be great to have that feature from that website, then do let us know, and we can really see if we can put that in there to kind of really make it a one-stop shop that is very focused and not too scattered with random weird things. So if you do email us and fill in the form that Grace is sharing, and it will be in the notes of this podcast, we're actually offering a few as a competition. No, what's the word?
Thank you.
As a thank you. As a thank you.
Thank you.
As a thank you, we're picking 3 people who have submitted their thoughts to us, and they'll get a free pro review. And if you don't know what a pro review is, it's a kind of well, Bader, do you want to explain?
Yeah, so when you submit work and you are on a live stream and you have someone like myself or Will or any of the other like animators or seniors giving you feedback, that would be considered a pro review, because it's basically us giving you feedback on your work. Usually it's in a group. So the benefit of having a pro review is that it's dedicated to yourself. It's about like 10 to 15 minutes long. It's about, specific to whether it's a shot, or it could be a pro review on your show reel, I guess. Just bear in mind not to, for example, submit like, a 2-minute piece animated sequence, because that, 15 minutes cannot cover that. It's more about if you really want to push one shot, above, and it's like, you want to get someone to give you some really, detailed little notes. That's what a pro review is for.
Yeah, so you can upload to kind of like your 30-second video or less, and then you'll get back a 10 or 15-minute video recording, kind of really helpfully pulling that shot apart to make it as good as possible, so you can learn from it. So so if you do get in contact with us, we will pick 3 people at random, and then Grace will get back in contact and let them know who they are.
Also, and we are still keeping Anim Dojo free for a while, aren't we? Is that still?
Yes, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, we'll keep it free till the end of August. So whilst we do all of this, looking at it, people can use it for free and benefit from it whilst lockdown continues as well. And then it will revert to its old kind of £15 a month cost, and that will be, you'll still be able to access the site if you don't pay, but some of the learn videos and some of the live streams will be premium, which means they're only you can only watch them if you're a premium subscriber.
Yeah. So
but
now's the best time.
Yeah,
so now's the best time if you wanted to still make use of it to go ahead and do that.
Exactly. Cool. So I hope you do kind of like get in contact with us. We'd absolutely love to hear from you. And if you didn't know what Anim Dojo is before listen to this podcast, we hope you're a bit clearer now, and go and give it a go. Go to animdojo.com and have a play with it and see, and do join in some of the sessions as well. They're good fun.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. Unless anyone else has got anything to chuck in.
No.
Nope,
Oh,
we covered
okay.
it.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks so much to Katie, Grace, and Beda, and cheers for listening at home or watching if this is on YouTube. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So please post a comment, email us hello@animdojo.com, or message us on any of our socials. So until next time, bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Listening.